Only 15 days left. So what is going on, Kingdom Hearts fans? It's your boy Amaziah here, and today I'm going to be naming off my top 5 hopes for Kingdom Hearts 3 after it releases, and of course the events of the story, and also what I'm hoping for the future of Kingdom Hearts 3 when it comes to regards of like gameplay and certain things like that. So without further ado, I don't want to waste any time. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So coming in at number 5, I hope that Xehanort gets a proper ending. So a proper ending for a villain is something that a lot of people truly look at when it comes to the end of certain sagas or certain stories, because one of the things that goes into storytelling is that the villain pretty much makes the story. There's no conflict for the heroes if the villain does not build a proper conflict for them. So pretty much Master Xehanort over the years has built a perfect little conflict for Sora and his friends and stuff like that. You know, the ambiguity of what's right and wrong with the hearts of certain characters. Of course, the Xehanort situation in which he's Norton characters, and Sora's situation in which he wants to set characters free from the pain that Master Xehanort has caused. Definitely, I hope that Master Xehanort meets a proper end, and of course, it has a build up to it that makes the ending feel worth it, or like the story or Sora and the gang deserve to defeat Master Xehanort in this ending. With this, I'm not hoping that, of course, Master Xehanort gets to some crazy ass level of power to where it makes no fucking sense that Sora can defeat him because, oh, my friends are my power. Nah, nigga, fuck that shit. If your friends are your power, but if Master Xehanort becomes a literal god, nigga, he snaps his fingers and you're done. There is no fucking my friends are my power. But of course, I'm not hoping for something crazy like that, but I do hope that Master Xehanort does in some way, form, or fashion leaves a lasting impact on the story. Even if that impact isn't inherently negative, I'm hoping that there's an impact in the sense that, of course, he either goes through with his plans and puts the balance in equilibrium, and if it doesn't cause an apocalypse, then of course then this could mean that something different may happen. But if it does cause an apocalypse like my theory suggests, then of course the end of the world will come and Sora will create the next world, and we can say through Master Xehanort's plans and what he wound up doing in Kingdom Hearts 3, of course now the next world that we're going to be playing in the future of the titles is existing because of the fact that he achieved his goal, and that's a proper end to Master Xehanort. Now, do I think Master Xehanort needs to die? I don't think him dying necessarily does anything for the story. I would rather see him, we know about his eyes now, and we know that of course something happens to him 100% because his eyes used to be a different color. I'm not going to spoil it and say what color they used to be for anyone who hasn't seen the opening, but we know that his eyes used to be a different color. With that being the case, of course, I'm hoping that he doesn't die because he has so much knowledge and information. And as Master Yin Sid said, or Yin Sid said, of course, Master Xehanort, when he was a Keyblade Master, because he doffed the mantle of Keyblade Master, they just still call him Master Xehanort for some reason. Before he doffed the Keyblade Mantle, he had a gift like no other Keyblade wielder. And I think that that comes from his knowledge. And if the Master of Masters is in fact going to be the next villain, or Liu Shu will be the next villain of the series, I feel like they're going to need someone like Master Xehanort. They're going to need someone like Master Xehanort. But seeing him being completely good, I don't think that would be good as well. I would more so rather like to see something like him getting trapped within Sora's heart, and you know, they can talk to each other, or Sora can use his dark power and stuff like that. Something like that. I feel like that would work for me. However, I do want there to be a real significant battle before those events take place that he becomes a part of Sora. Coming in at number 4, we have expansions and other character stories. So we know that Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be taking place with at least 20 characters running around within the worlds. I would love to get an opportunity to play as some of these 13 Seekers like we used to do in Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2. When you look at Riku's gameplay, it doesn't look like they put as much depth into Riku's gameplay because it's just like a little part of the game rather than, of course, being something expansive like probably 2 to 3 hours long. It may only be like an hour and 30 minutes that we actually play as Riku, so it doesn't look like his moveset is actually as fleshed out as Sora's. With that being the case, I feel like they already have an idea of how certain characters can play because Han had already developed, like, you know, a certain playstyle for each individual villain in the series. So in 358 Days Over 2, you had the ability to play as other Organization 13 members. You can co-op and tag team with like Roxas or other characters, whoever you wanted to play as, and it was up to 4 players. So Han had already developed a moveset for these characters. Now, whether or not I think they're just gonna take those movesets and apply it to, of course, the new graphics and the new engine and everything, I don't think they would do that because of the type of enemies that they have may not work with, of course, that kind of combat style. But of course, putting certain tweaks and spins on it could lead to us being able to play as other characters. Speaking of expansions, the characters that I most likely want to see are Lee. I would love to see an episode Kyrie. I would love to see an episode Zigbar or Bragg, so that way we can see whatever the fuck his own plans were from, of course, that recoded cutscene that they added in there. And they just added that in there like in 2014. So there's no reason for them to have forgotten that he said that. And then, of course, we don't wind up finding out what those plans are, because this is supposed to be the end of Master Xehanort's ways of coming back into the story, at least as the primary villain. So, of course, we can't just have Bragg running around with his heart and stuff, because then that could just lead to him finding a way to revive Master Xehanort. Even if Master Xehanort became a good guy, well, if he came back as a good guy in the future, then who knows. But as far as him being a villain, we can't just have Bragg running around. But I would definitely love to see what those own plans were. Another character I would really love to play as, and I feel like I've always wanted to play as, is Marluxia. What his plans are, maybe we can find out some stuff about him and Larxene. Maybe there's some secret between them. Like, of course, we know about the whole Strelitzia thing and Lorium, and I forgot her fucking name. I forgot Larxene's name, bro. It was Elrena. Elrena, of course. That situation going on there, I would love to see like some more of the story from that, especially if they still remember those events and things like that. I would love to see that. Number 3 is the 13 Seeker battles are playable. And the reason why I want the 13 Seeker battles to be playable is because I know a lot of people, this is going to make a lot of people mad. I already know it, because it's going to sound like a negative about Kingdom Hearts 3 if it doesn't happen. And I'm not going to lie to you, it would be a negative, because the story, ever since Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, the story has been building up to this point, in which, of course, the characters are going to go up against the 13 Seekers of Darkness. I don't want to just play as Sora and fight 2 to 3 Seekers of Darkness and then everybody else have a battle off screen. I don't want that. I want for every single one of the 13 Seekers to have a playable battle. Even if this means that for some weird reason all of the freaking Organization 13 members or the 13 Seekers wind up having a battle with Sora, when there's clearly, like, of course, rivalries that have to be resolved between certain characters, meaning Lee and Isa, meaning, of course, Xemnas and Roxas, meaning, of course, Riku, Young Xehanort, Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, meaning Sora and Master Xehanort, Sora and Xemnas, stuff like that. You know, we can clearly see the buildup of certain matchups inside of the Kingdom Hearts story thus far. I don't want all of them to just necessarily fight Sora and then that's the end of it. I want there to be more battles, and I want them all to be playable. Again, we don't see Riku having a more fleshed out moveset like Sora. We already have the movesets from the games that already came out. I would love to just see them, of course, adapt those movesets into Kingdom Hearts 3, add a little bit more flavor to them, and of course give us battles with the 13 Seekers, because obviously we can see some battles are going to go on, but what we've seen in the final battle trailer, it seems like, of course, everyone is trying to do the situation in which they're distracting Riku, because we see Ansem, the Seeker of Darkness, and of course the Riku replica, or not the replica, Data Riku fighting Riku, and then of course Sora is all fighting, like, I think Luxord, and then he may also fight Vanitas, and that's another thing too, Vanitas and Ventus. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to see Sora just handle all of these fights. We've seen this before. I don't want to see Sora handle all of these fights. He's already fought all of them, and pretty much he's already kicked all of their asses. I would love to see someone else fight these characters, because they've never truly put anyone against the Organization 13 or the 13 Seekers of Darkness. None of these characters have truly been fought by anyone except for Sora and Riku, and even then, a lot of them, the ones that Riku fought, didn't even return. The ones that did return, I think, are Vexen. Did Riku even fight Vexen in Chain of Memories? I didn't even make it to that point yet. So hopefully we get more battles, and of course they're all playable, and we get to see different characters face off against, of course, Organization members. We have Aqua against, oh damn, my voice. We have Aqua against Bragg. I would love to see that fight again. So please, please, please give us secret battles with different characters. Their movesets don't have to be as fleshed out as Sora's. We don't need the ability to, before we take on the battle, press pause and add many different freaking options to the characters. Like, of course, different movesets or combo modifiers and stuff like that. But I would love for there to be some kind of playable version of all of the 7 Guardians, and then we can fight the 13 Seekers. Coming in at number 2, Liu Shu appears in more context on the Master of Masters. So with this one, it's a little vague because we know that the Master of Masters surprise is going to be revealed within Kingdom Hearts 3. Either whether or not it's in the main game or the epilogue that's going to be releasing in the secret movie, of course, I want to see more context on the Master of Masters. Meaning I would love to see if Sora could meet Liu Shu, and of course Liu Shu tells him about the Master of Masters. I would love to see what Liu Shu has learned during his time traveling and traversing the world, of course, as the world came to an end and as it was reborn, and what he's seen throughout, of course, the course of the lifespan of the current universe. I would love to see all of that stuff from Liu Shu, but we would more than likely get just a little bit more context on the Master of Masters, who he is, whether or not he's actually a villain, and of course we may even get to see the way that he's supposedly going to return for the next saga if he is in fact the villain, if Liu Shu isn't the villain himself. Of course, also with Liu Shu we could learn new things such as, of course, what truly happened to the foretellers and stuff, and I would love to see all of that stuff go down in, of course, Kingdom Hearts 3, because we're definitely building into a saga in which, of course, we're building up to a saga in which, of course, the Master of Masters, the foretellers, and Liu Shu will definitely play some kind of significant role. He had to have been there in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep during the end of the Birth by Sleep War. He had to have been there for a reason, and if he wasn't there for a reason, then there was no point to add that in Kingdom Hearts 0.2, but I believe that he was there for a reason, and that's because we're building up towards the next saga being about either him being the villain or, of course, Master Xehanort being Master Xehanort, the Master of Masters, being the villain. And I'm hoping that if Liu Shu is the main villain of the next saga, I'm just hoping that it isn't something to where Master Xehanort was his apprentice and Sora pretty much defeated Master Xehanort and now he wants to fight Sora. I'm hoping it's not something like that. I'm hoping it's something legitimate, like, of course, something that has to do with, like, the light and the balance of the worlds and stuff like that. Who knows? If Sora does create the next world, maybe the way he balances the world could lead to Liu Shu coming back and, of course, being against the way that he built the world. So now he wants to defeat Sora because you have to defeat the person who made it to Kingdom Hearts to become, of course, the new creator of another world. So hopefully that's how things plan out. Of course, it's something like that, something that leads to, of course, the events of Kingdom Hearts 3 still being relevant going forward into the future. Even though it's the end of a saga, it still should have, like, some importance going forward, and I feel like that's an interesting way to tie it in by having a character that should know, of course, something like, oh, this is how the balance of the universe should be, versus, of course, this is the balance that the person who reached Kingdom Hearts created. And I feel like that would be an interesting prospect to see, like, Liu Shu come back and he knows certain information and stuff like that about the worlds and the universe and how it all comes together at large, something like that. And of course, the Master of Masters, if he comes back, then obviously, I think he'll come back because of the fact that Kingdom Hearts has been tampered with, and we know that that was the number one thing the foretellers were never meant to do. So coming in at number 1, this one is gonna bother some people, but coming in at number 1, I have to do it to him, dog. A multiplayer / co-op component. I would love to have multiplayer within Kingdom Hearts 3. I already see so many different possibilities for multiplayer. Now I know that there was that little co-op thing, but I think that that's more so based towards the little mini games that we have in Kingdom Hearts 3, the Classic Kingdoms. I feel like that's what that little co-op on the box art is supposed to represent, is the Classic Kingdoms. I don't think it's supposed to be, oh, 2 people can run around with the Keyblade and stuff like that. So I don't think that that's what that little 2-player stuff was about. I think that that's just the Classic Kingdoms. But when it comes to a true multiplayer / co-op component, we have the Gigas in the Toy Story world. Literally, Kingdom Hearts Titanfall, niggas. You cannot tell me you don't want to be playing that shit, because I know if that shit came out, niggas, we would be streaming that shit and going to war, boys. We will be going to war. And other than that, of course, we have the Thousand Heartless Battle. Imagine getting something like that, because we've seen that, of course, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One can handle having, like, all of those different freaking Heartless all about. And I would love to see something like that in which, of course, two to three players or 2 to 4 players take on like mega waves of Heartless, and then of course it eventually climbs up to being like the 13 Seekers and stuff like that. Now, how they would get that to work, I can't really tell you, but of course that's why they're the developers and we're the consumers of the content that they develop. They know how to make something like that work. It's just a matter of do they want to. And before I close this video off with those thoughts, of course, with the co-op thing, I would love to see something just like 358 Days Over 2, traversing the worlds, and I would also love to see like racing again. Remember the racing in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep? I would love to see that come back. I would love to see the PvP come back, the player versus player. Of course, this game is going to have a better combat system in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep than just mashing the X button and all of that good jazz. So definitely I would love to see like that come back, and I would love for us to be able to build certain character sets, which means that of course if you put certain items on your character, there will be some type of magic that is weak for your character. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there should be like balances to it. Like, okay, if I attach this anklet, I'll get resistance to fire up by 20%, but I'll be able to get hurt by, let's say, waters by 10% extra. You see what I'm saying? Like, there should be stuff like that, like little balances like that within the multiplayer or PvP. But before I end this video, because I know people are going to be like, oh, why does everybody always want a multiplayer component for every single game? Every game doesn't need multiplayer. Well, Tetsuya Nomura has already expressed that he himself would love to have some type of online multiplayer component within Kingdom Hearts 3. He even mentioned that, of course, if he has the time, he would hope that they can implement something to where the players can actually interact with each other. Now, whether or not that means, of course, the classic kingdoms, although I highly doubt it, because the way he was speaking about it, he always was asked about an actual multiplayer component, meaning that of course I'm pretty sure he knows when the word multiplayer comes out, they mean that of course are we gonna get something like the Birth by Sleep battle arena. And of course obviously he said that he would love to implement something like that because he wants this game to be played for years, not just of course 2018 it's a big old bang for like the first 3 months and then it just falls off, and then of course every time we do something like GDQ or games done quickly, or of course something like that, then it comes up again and then it falls off again. He doesn't want that for this game. He wants this game to remain relevant for years, and that's why I also talked about expansions and other character stories, as we can get those to come out of course over the span of 2018. We can get those to come out over the span, over the span of 2019 and over the span of 2020, kind of like what we've been seeing with Final Fantasy 15, in which of course it's already been it's been 2 years going on 3 this year, and if it wasn't for the cancellation of the episodes, then of course we would have been getting I think like 4 episodes throughout 2019 for Final Fantasy 15, and it already would have been like 3 years by the time those next 4 parts came out, and we already got 4 over the span of I think 2017 and of course 2018. So I would love to see a lot of content come to Kingdom Hearts 3. I would love to see a lot of battles happen within Kingdom Hearts 3 that aren't just all solely based around Sora, because we've seen that before. I would love to see, of course, the Master of Masters or Liu Shu appear, and we get some context towards what's going to happen within the next saga, instead of just being left on dry and parched, you know what I'm saying, for like the next 3 to 4 years. I would love to see like some stuff like that, some stuff that we can take with us as we end this journey with Kingdom Hearts 3, at least for its main story. But of course, going forward, I would love to see more releases and stuff of new content that keeps the game live and fresh. Now, why I didn't speak more towards, of course, stuff that is going to be within the base game, that I think is going to be within the base game, because I feel like from what we've seen thus far, I think I will be satisfied with what Kingdom Hearts 3 will have to offer. There's a lot of stuff that has already been shown off to where I'm like, okay, I'm feeling that. Y'all already know from my reactions, bro. Everything about Kingdom Hearts 3 thus far is seeming like it's alright. Fuck you, phone. I was recording you, bitch. But of course, everything about Kingdom Hearts 3 thus far is looking like I'm going to enjoy the experience that Square Enix are going to put out. Now, that experience getting better than stuff over time by updates and patches, and of course, having more content come out like DLC releases. Kingdom Hearts 3 may be the first game in a long time I actually buy DLC for. I believe the last game I bought DLC for was probably Assassin's Creed 3 way back in like 2011 or 2012 or something like that. This game is probably going to be the first game I actually do it for, because obviously I just love this series that much. But this has been your boy Amaziah. Go ahead and show me what your top 5 hopes are in the comment section below, or tell me, I should say, in the comment section below. And of course, as you guys know, as always, I will be down there talking to you guys, especially if you say something that I think is definitely interesting, or that I think eclipsed my mind when I was writing my list, of course, that I may also want as well. But this has been your boy Amaziah. Don't forget to do a little A-class gaming, and everything you do, don't forget to keep it A-class. And after tomorrow, we will officially be 2 weeks away from Kingdom Hearts 3. So expect a lot of parts and stuff to my Road to Kingdom Hearts 3 series to come out alongside these videos. I hope you guys check that content out as well, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace the heck out.
What's left of me?